Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Long Island Splat 4. Here we are. My name is Melissa Acid Sunshine, and I'm joined by Hangman today. That was an amazing set.
I loved that last set. We've actually had a lot of really good sets.
Oh, we've
on
had some
stream
great
so
sets
far.
today.
It's been a very fun day. I know moving forward, we have another one that's going to be really good. We got Thanksgiving leftovers. It's one of the pickup teams from today versus Pythonic, which we've already seen a very impressive start from Pythonic earlier in the day. We'll see how things work out for them with Splat Zones. Inkblot as the beginning. I'm looking very forward to actually both of these teams. I have to say, as far as pickups go, and you were mentioning this during the off time, they've been playing really well today.
Oh, totally. I think especially like watching on stream, looking at the bracket, maybe both teams haven't done as well off stream, but when they have played on stream, they've done really well playing. So I'm super excited to watch this happen again. Maybe Thanksgiving Leftovers will be able to clutch this out like they did in the first round that we watched today, or, you know, Pythonic might just be able to bring it all home and, you know, we'll see how our top two round out. So I'm really, really excited for it. Looks like what we're going to be seeing is Inkblot Art Academy's Splat Zones, which is, you know, we just watched Rainmaker on Inkblot Art Academy and how quickly that match kind of like went back and forth for a little while, and it was so close at the bitter end there. So I'm really interested to see what they decide to do on Splat Zones and how these teams played out.
If I remember correctly, Pythonic picked into Splat Zones on Inkblot as a counter pick earlier on in the bracket, and if I recall, that was a really good match in their favor.
I think you're right. Yeah, that was the fourth game, and I think that was the one that they ended up taking. They actually, I believe they did take that fourth game. So you're absolutely right. So this is going to be really excited to see them kind of replay that and see how they do. And looking at the rest of the team here, it looks like Thanksgiving Leftovers is kind of getting ready to, you know, have a good time. Everyone's just looking that they're going to have fun. Smiles all around. This is exactly what we want to see. Oh, bummer. We had to remake the lobby, so we're just gonna...
Gotta love when it happens.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. We try.
If everyone just DCs from the game, it's, you know, ghost plays. Nope, I think that, you know, we're just going to wait for everyone to get back into this lobby to start this over and, you know, see how they do. They had, like, I can't even say that it was a really great clutch for either team because I don't know what team played.
We're really good at stalling here at Gen Game.
Speaking of stalling, so let's talk a little bit about kind of what we have coming up for our grand finals as we remake this lobby. So this is our last round of pools, right? We've been doing round robin today. We have 6 great teams playing today, so everyone's had an opportunity to play at least 3 games each so far. For all 5 rounds. So this will be going into everyone's played 15 games at the end of this. After that, we have our top 2 that will be going into what GSM calls set play. So one of the things that we like to do here is set play, and it's going to be a best of 3, best of 3. What does that mean? It means that they play 3 games of Splat Zones, 3 games of Rainmaker, and 3 games of Tower Control. I might have that order a little bit reversed. And the first set of Splat Zones, whoever wins 2 of 3, takes that set. And whoever wins 2 of 3 of the next one takes that set. And then who's ever won 2 of 3 of the sets wins the match.
Yes, for those of you who are new to this particular format, think of it very much like tennis. It's a matter of winning the sets as points, going for the whole match win.
Exactly. So it's going to be super fun to watch. And I believe that everyone's back into the lobby. We're just waiting for everyone to ready up here. And we'll be going into this last round 5 of Pythonic versus Thanksgiving Leftovers, but just, you know, a little bit of what's to come in our grand finals. So it's going to be a really fun afternoon. We still have a little bit of really fun Splatoon happening here today.
Now, I'm just looking forward to
the pool.
Yeah, I just want to see the pool of counter pick potentials as we go forward. So the tower control on New Albacore, I feel it might be pretty interesting.
I think a lot of people stay away from that map mode because of all the water traps that you have with tower control.
Yeah.
I think also we haven't seen much Clam Blitz today. Guys, breaking my heart. So, you know, I'd love to see
Clam Blitz to Anchovy Games, Piranha Pit. No, this That's a raw deal there. I am not blaming these players for not wanting to play that. We got the best map mode combo for Clan Blitz earlier. But right now, we're seeing a perfectly fine one for Splat Zones on Inkblot Art Academy. Looking at these loadouts real quick, just one thing I want to point up to note is the Rapid Blaster that we see.
Exactly. I think this is like a really interesting opportunity to go down on the side of Pythonic right away, and Thanksgiving Leftovers looking to try to take this zone away. That's
Yikes.
a team wipe for Pythonic. So this is where Pico caps that zone, exactly what they need to, and the Booyah Bomb comes out. Are they going to be able to get any picks from it? They do take the lead, and they get one pick from the Booyah Bomb, so that's going to help them a whole lot. And this is really where Pythonic needs to work pretty hard to come back in now.
Ooh, this Raptor coming in clutch already. And you see the Auto Bomb Rush trying to fall out. However, Poke already going in for the coverage with the Nautilus once again. I believe we saw Poke pick into this weapon earlier, and it's a really solid backline weapon, generally speaking, but Poke has been using it really well just to cover the spaces that the rest of Leftovers hasn't been able to defend well.
Poke plays the Splatling class really well. It's something he's known for playing, so it's really nice to watch him play it. And he plays it as kind of a mid-frontliner. He, like you said, he doesn't always hold back as much as he could. So I think that's really interesting and nice to see. So far it looks like we're getting kind of close that Pythonic might have an opportunity to take zone here. That Booyah Bomb does come out, and it forces control out of Pythonic's hand here, and control goes over to Thanksgiving Leftovers, putting up a 25-point penalty on the side of Pythonic.
One thing I just want to bring up with that play in particular, a really good call from that member of Pythonic was running right into the baller and then just dipping out of its blast radius, because it completely curbs its speed just by stopping it like that. Nonetheless, Thanksgiving Leftovers takes control of the lead, press forward, and establishes just a little bit stronger of a lead as picks go left and right.
Absolutely. So this is really kind of where, ooh, that suction bomb right there. Gets a nice pick off there. Catnip taking an opportunity to kind of push forward, trying to get zone, pops that armor. It's just not enough to kind of to stay alive here. And it looks like Blank Slate, ooh, trade there. A bomb trade.
Difficult trade, though, because it looked like there were all picks across on Leftovers and only one left on Pythonic. But both teams get themselves back up and running. However, with 5 points remaining, Leftovers looking like they're going to be able to take this one. And therein goes game one.
Great job. I think it's really interesting to watch. Like I said, like you mentioned that I said earlier, having a pickup that's created at the LAN, it's pretty even comp. You know, you have a backline, you have a couple of front lines, having a roller. I think that it's been done really well just kind of by chance. So great job for everyone here, and I'm super looking forward to how everyone else plays today.
Now, it looked like towards the beginning this was going to be another cut and dry map mode in favor of Pythonic. However, we saw Leftovers constantly fight back and split the forces where they needed to. They didn't really take it so that they struck in one direction, struck in the other. They tried giving pressure on both sides of the map, and I feel like that's a really good way to reverse control of Inkblot Splat Zones, because you're not going to be able to effectively control from both sides, just naturally due to the cover that that center pillar provides.
I completely agree, and I think this is really where kind of we're looking to see how everything changes now, because, you know, this puts the ball a little bit in Pythonic's court here. They get to pick from the losers pick pool and to see what they decide to do. They might go for another Splat Zones map, and they might decide to change it up. So it'll, you know, be a world of difference for them. It could just mean a completely different game.
One way or the other, this was a very fast-paced game one, and I feel like that's something that's been absent from the rest of the bracket. Really curious to see if this pace maintains for the rest of the set, or like where we go. It's going to be New Albacore Tower
Get
Control.
Your wish.
I do. Now, this is a very unconventional combo. However, I think it's really good for Pythonic, and I brought this up earlier. They're not very movement-oriented like a lot of other teams, and it's not really that traditional of a notion to do this, but they're very placement-oriented. We saw this very much in their first game they played on stream, and I think this is a map that rewards that style of play very heavily. You brought up the water traps that prevent a lot of areas of movement and ink control, but I feel something that adds on to that even further is there's a lot of greats to walk around on this map.
Definitely.
And they're placed in good positions because it's something that, once again, rewards good placement, good coordination, not necessarily solid ink control.
I completely agree. I think that, you're absolutely right. It could be a really nice pick for Pythonic here, and maybe that's why they decided to go for it. I think it also throws a couple of other people off their game who might feel like me and be a little bit wary of some of those tower control maps that go over the water for an extended period of time. So I'm interested to see how each of these teams handle this, what they decide to change up with their comps, and you know, it's going to be a really fun set to watch.
Seems like a little bit of discussion before they all hop into the lobby. Not everyone's fully rated up until just now. Love when they do something I'm going to say they're not going to do. As I say it, worst feeling.
Something that you said you wanted to see, too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're getting tower control in New Albacore Hotel. I can't complain too much.
No way.
Definitely a off-the-walls pick, and we're already seeing some changes in the weapons. I get my Luna Blaster, too. This is just tailor-made for me.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And is that Neo Splash-O-Matic?
Sploosh?
Sploosh?
Neo Sploosh, I think.
Either way, not a weapon we often get a chance to see, but excellent for short-range ink control, which can be very important for making sure that there is movement available. Because even though I brought up how good those grades can be for the sake of positioning, you still want to have yourself able to move around well.
Yeah, and I think right away you can really tell that Thanksgiving Leftovers has kind of taken control. They got a 3-down situation. Poke out here, building the special, using those missiles to make sure that everybody stays exactly where he wants them to be. And, you know, it's just going to begin an opportunity for Thanksgiving Leftovers to try to get that first checkpoint.
Now, if I'm understanding this correctly, it seems like a lot of the focus here is for Poke to be able to just consistently get those Tenta missiles up, consistently build up pressure on Pythonic, and it's working out pretty well. We finally see Pythonic respond with a special of their own, and Stingray and Tower Control is just a match made in heaven. We see it all the time. We see how well it's able to play itself offensively, defensively. It's such a solid combo. We should expect to see plenty of it as the set moves on. And Thanksgiving Leftovers doesn't have that convincing of a lead established yet on this. So I think this could be a very back-and-forth map.
I completely agree with you. I think this is kind of the opportunity that they might have been looking for here. WNR looking to, you know, pop that baller off of tower and just waits. Nice pick from that splat bomb there. You know, not always an expected thing. Sometimes you just use it for a little bit of pressure, but when you get a pick, it's a really nice deal.
Pico managing solid duck and weave, but not able to survive it too long out as Pythonic makes their way past the first checkpoint. It's a bit of a rough call getting past this particular area, too. Leading up into the second checkpoint is brutal.
Definitely. Ryan gets a pretty nice pick there, and it's going to really help them take back the tower. So this is where Thanksgiving Leftovers needs to get the picks that they are working on here. The Booyah Bomb coming out from Pico. This could be a pretty good help. Throws that pretty quickly. Another team wipe on the side of Pythonic. So this is a really nice opportunity for Thanksgiving Leftovers to continue this push that they have going here.
Given how effectively Leftovers managed that push, I feel like the Booyah Bomb was just a little bit of overkill. It didn't really focus anyone out. Kind of a waste, but nonetheless, Pico's got it again. He's going to throw it even deeper, this time responding to the Stingray.
Yeah, Pico just getting a couple really nice picks here. Does get that double, and then the Booyah Bomb and gets that one there. Just creates a lot of distraction for Pythonic here, which is going to be super frustrating for them as they're trying to break back out of spawn. They just really needed to pay attention where he was.
Well, that's a lot of missiles down on Gundam. Gundam's going to be able to reposition themselves as the point returns itself to neutral positioning. Trying to break a 47-point lead, kind of difficult. Like I was saying, that area between checkpoints 1 and 2, very brutal to cover just because it's not really going anywhere too much. And it's over that water trap, it's over the grates. It's really difficult unless you manage a team wipe.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think also something to be said is that this is just a really difficult map when you're looking at movement and ink control. So like we saw earlier, the whole map was basically green. And this is where you need to exactly know like what areas can you become squid form, what areas do you have to walk on your grades. Otherwise, you're just going in the water.
That was a really bold play from Gundam, diving deep into the Booyah Bomb just so he can make sure to go for the trade. He knew he was good as dead, but he went for the trade. Nonetheless, really solid play. The tower's going to return itself to neutral. WNR is going to try to move it forward a little bit with 3 up. This, I think, is actually a really good position for Pythonic to push. It seems like one of their players is also in deep into territory, but is going to get picked for it.
this is exactly what we're looking at here right now. You know, members are just jumping in over and over again. Ooh, WNR does go down to that bomb. Not going to help them, but they still have a couple members going in. This is where you get in trouble with those jumps. If they were a little bit further, they could have a little more cover. That would have been a super safe thing to do. Unfortunately not. So Thanksgiving Leftovers just takes them out one by one. And this is where they really don't have a lot of time that they need to hold this tower for.
Yeah, 30 seconds left on the clock. This is looking like an assured victory for Thanksgiving Leftovers, especially with really unfortunate positioning by Catnip. Pythonic with a few misplays here could spell doom for this game too.
Yeah, I think that this is really it here. They're pushing forward to that other one. Oh, man, they do go down to the Stingray. So this is an entire team wipe for Pythonic and only one up. It's Pico. Pico goes into the water. Oh, no. Oh.
Oh, what a way to end game 2. All right. Oh, I once again spoke too soon as we go into overtime. Although, really poor positioning for Pythonic. This is going to have to be a very hard, well-fought battle, but it is going to be ending itself out as Thanksgiving Leftovers takes game 2 in comedic fashion.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's so hard, you know, to avoid those water traps, and just the moment that you do fall in, it's, you know, absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, 13-10 is fine. This is not. This is perfectly fine. Poke is okay.
Wow.
All right, you can see the game plan very early on from the way that Poke is focusing much more on just painting out the ground, making sure not just that it was green, but that there was space for him to charge his special. Because covering the map with missiles forced Pythonic to reposition themselves over and over and over again. And I had established this earlier. Their positioning is what was key to their victories early on in the tournament. But if they can't position themselves right because there's missiles hounding them down, what do they have left?
Exactly. You're exactly right. You know, where can they go if not where the missiles are? And 13, wow.
It's just a rough scene. Do we have a replay of the very end when there was effectively a whole map wipe except for Pico? Okay, cool. I need to see it again.
This is that shot you were talking about there. Gundam going in for the trade, even though they knew that they'd be taken out by that Booyah Bomb.
So brave. Like, if Gundam had the rest of Pythonic to back him up, that would have been such a good play. But alas, there's only so much you can do.
Definitely. And this is where it started to be the beginning of the end, right?
Yeah. It is down to that last 30 seconds. A Booyah Bomb gets charged up. Unfortunate. Catnip takes a dive in the middle of a firefight with Ryan. The slow motion.
The amount of times I've
the
done
dramatic slow motion. Oh, yeah. Everyone's down. Pico has no excuse but to step onto the tower.
I think they
misses.
just
barely
it.
misses.
Oh.
So sad.
Oh.
Literally no one to stop him.
Oh, man. I think that's just a little bit poor planning. But the booyahs come out anyway. Everyone's having a good time, and that's really where it's at, you know. And they respawned so fast that they were able to get back in and continue to push a little bit. But Pico's right there to redeem himself, having a little trouble climbing onto the tower. Finally gets up there, takes control, and ends the game.
Game 3 is going to bring us the splat zones on Humpback Pump Track. And, you know, equal to what I was saying earlier, positioning being key for Pythonic is, I feel like, what's going to give them this game potentially. Now, I felt the same way with Game 2, but Leftovers played it out really well as, like, mispositioning was an excellent countermeasure. If they could do the same thing, this could be the 3-0 that seals the fate of Pythonic.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be, and, you know, we'll see what ends up happening here. I think this is a very difficult Splat Zones map to play, and I'm really interested to see what everybody decides to bring out.
Bit more traditional warfare from both sides. Hope it's like a full cold-blooded set. Someone's looking really forward to the next update.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just really doesn't want to get tagged by point sensors, I guess.
And Stingray.
Nonetheless, we'll see how things work out for teams as we see the break go in favor of Thanksgiving Leftovers. I'm actually really curious to see how Pythonic is going to opt to fight against Thanksgiving Leftovers, because Leftovers has been really good with staying as just like a mobile offensive front. Like they're constantly able to reposition themselves and keep the fight going, and outlasting your opponents is one of the best ways to win out the fights. You don't have to be super aggressive. You just make sure someone's alive by the end of the firefight.
Exactly. I think so far it seems like Thanksgiving Leftovers has done a really good job to make sure no one is alive by the end of that fight.
Most
And,
definitely.
you know, they're holding on to these specials just to use them exactly when they need them. And Blake Slate getting that pick on Catnip. And this is really where, you know, they're wondering, hey, I have these bubbles. I'm just going to hold them. I'm going to stay in zone, wait for rain to come out, and hopefully they don't go down from here and they are able to actually get this special off.
A respectable amount of penalty points goes down to Thanksgiving Leftovers. However, Pythonic can try and make most of this situation. It's going to be difficult with a few members down. I feel like this is going to be one of those situations where you need to make the all or nothing push. Like, if they're trying to go in with 3 or 2 members, it's not going to be as effective against Thanksgiving Leftovers because a lot of members of this team can handle themselves individually. So it's a bit of a hard break for them.
Definitely. So I'm really looking forward to see what goes on here. And, you know, Poke in mid, exactly what you were talking about, not taking like one of the safe areas to stay up on that bump. So there we go. It looks like this is an opportunity Pythonic has. Oh, but they do go 3 down. So I'm not sure. They have 1 on zone if they'll be able to hold it still.
WNR is able to hold it down for the team, able to stay alive long enough for everyone else to come back into play. Decides to dip out, play the back row. Bit more traditional spot link play from what we've seen previously here, but I mean, hey, if it works, it works.
Completely. And I think that's exactly like what they're going for here. Throws that wall that's going to help a little bit to keep them out. Decides to get out of the way of that Booyah Bomb that does take zone exactly what it's good for. And this is really puts a pretty nice penalty onto them from abandoning that zone there.
Honestly, the iframes on Booyah Bomb are nutty. It's so weird to see how safe that is to use. Because not only are you putting out a fairly solid projectile, you're drawing so much attention to yourself.
Completely. What I find really interesting with the Booyah Bomb, too, is we talked about some of these new weapons that are coming, and none of them seem to have a Booyah Bomb as a special. So,
yeah, it looks like that's Tony Kent's exclusive.
Yeah, we'll see if it continues to happen here. Booyah pushing forward, using it as a really nice defensive measure there so that the rest of the team can't push forward. Poke knows that that suction bomb is there and is just going to wait it out. They only have a few seconds left to keep this point, and that is match for Thanksgiving Leftovers. Absolutely wonderful job for that set.
A very convincing 3-0 in favor of Thanksgiving Leftovers, and I feel like they just played the countermeasures to fighting Pythonic very well. Whether they just ultimately came prepared or they were very aware of how well Pythonic was playing earlier and they knew just to look out for these opponents, it was very well played because it did not look like at any point that Pythonic was able to really play their game plan. Like, they were able to take control at multiple points and they fought well at defending things out, but the members of Thanksgiving Leftovers that were alive at the end of firefights were doing a really good job of cleaning up.
Completely. Looking in on some of these replays, I think that, you know, Pythonic was really trying to kind of get back into where they wanted to be, and they were working hard on making sure that they could get the zone when they could, but unfortunately, a lot of the members of Thanksgiving Leftovers, they had better positioning, they had better coordination, they were able to bring themselves up when they needed to, and they were able to stay in zone a lot stronger. So I think that that just really was what brought it home here.
This is one of the bit more impressive plays where WNR was able to stay alive, let the rest of Pythonic come through, but ultimately it didn't really mean much because just like that, the control of the map was able to swing in favor of Leftovers. They held it very convincingly towards the end, towards the cap.
Yeah, great job from all the teams today, though. That 3-0 will close out our round-robin pools. And just waiting on confirmation here to make sure that I can confidently announce our top 2 will be Invertebrates versus Demise. So that round 4 was a great preview of what's to come for I can't speak anymore. What's to come for grand finals today.
I mean, we said it before. We'll say it again. It's just they're very well evenly matched. Mm-hmm. So We get the run back. We get to see if Demise redeems himself or if Invertebrates walks with the money today. It's been a very fun tournament nonetheless.
Oh, it's been so much fun. And I know Hitzel is dying to win this because he comes so close every single Long Island Splat. And, you know, he said today's his day, so let's see how it goes.
Him and his team are definitely playing to win. So
definitely.
I could see it.
So we are just going to wait a few minutes to make sure that they come in together. And I believe we're going to cut to another break, and we'll be back pretty soon to set you off with our grand finals.
It's going to be a short break, so make sure to stay tuned in.
See you soon.